What should be your negotiation strategy when your opponent is committed to exterminating as many people as possible to achieve their goals? This isn't a theoretical question that I'm asking you. This is a real life negotiation posture of one of the major political parties in the US. The Republican Party and many of its members are committed to doing whatever is necessary to eliminate as many people from the population as possible. There is no other conclusion that you can draw other than that when you look at the efforts that they've gone through since January to eliminate anything and everything that benefits the average working citizen in the US. We have to get in the habit of saying these things out loud. Too often, we are wrapped up in a position of trying to reason and theoretically explain what the course of action should be, when what we should be doing is calling out exactly what the political adversaries we face stand for. And make no mistake about it, the Republican Party is committed to exterminating as many people in the US as possible. That's who you're debating against. That's who you're negotiating against if you're an elected Democrat. So once you realize that, what should be your negotiation strategy? And the reason why I'm asking this question is because, by and large, everybody is pissed off at the 8 Democrats who voted to end the shutdown and agree to a deal on Republican terms that reopen the government and move forward on a terrible bill that's in process. Now, in the moment, everybody's justified at being mad at those Democrats because the idea is that you gave up leverage and got nothing out of it to support your base. But is that really true? Let's take it out of the theoretical and the strategic language that we're using and understand what's at stake. What was at stake is you have a shutdown, the longest in history, where millions of people are going without pay and are being forced to report into work. On top of that, you had millions of people that were already losing their SNAP benefits. And you really have to look at your opposition and ask yourself the question, is there any scenario where they wouldn't allow this to happen in perpetuity? Because think about it, a shutdown government serves the Republican needs just fine because they believe in the unitary executive theory where all control of government sits at the Oval Office and in the hands of the president. So if the government's shut down, the president can do whatever he wants. So they don't care. They are deeply committed to exterminating as many people as possible and consolidating power in the hands of the presidency. So when you're faced with that, what should your negotiation strategy be? The negotiation strategy in that circumstance should be take the least worst option and move forward. And that's what those 8 Democrats did. Doesn't mean that I'm happy about it. It doesn't mean that this will benefit us in the long run. All this means is that you take the opportunity that reduces harm as much as possible. And one of the things that everybody that is on the left or non-MAGA line needs to understand is that we need to stop having these theoretical discussions and these discussions about ideological purity, because all it does is that it removes the reality and dehumanizes what's going on out in the world. Because if that continued, you already have a toll of lives that are being ruined systematically and deliberately by the opposition party, and that will continue. There's already a death toll associated with this shutdown. Whether we know it or not, doesn't matter. We know that lives have been ruined as a result of this, and that would just continue to happen. So when we debate based on theory and based on hypotheticals versus actually understanding the human cost, we cheapen the entire discussion. So if there was no harm to be done, yeah, of course we can talk about keeping the government shut down until we get what we want. But that's not the reality that we live in. We are in a reality where one political party is legitimately the enemy of the American people and are willing to exterminate as many people as possible to get what they want. The sooner we start recognizing that, and the sooner we start saying that out loud and pinning it on them repeatedly, the better off we're going to be. The problem with anybody that isn't MAGA aligned is that we are afraid to use our words and call out the thing for what it is. The only way forward is through, and the only way through is by operating with cold, calculated reality in our language. We can't be playing these word games and operating in theory, because that is what actually makes the situation worse. We need to deal with reality as it is. And while no one can be happy about those Democrats crossing over, it was the least worst decision they could have made, and that's what they did. And in the grand scheme of things, it's probably the right call.